Today we are talking about Chris Sawyer's Locomotion, released in 2004. Let's give it a review and find out if it's still worth playing. Locomotion, developed by transport giant Chris Sawyer, you may remember him from the Rollercoaster Tycoon series, is a transport management simulation game that pays homage to the classic Railroad Tycoon series released for the PC. Now, it invites players to design and manage transport networks reminiscent of the early days of simulation games, but does it manage to stand out in the market saturated by complex simulators, such as Railroad Tycoon, for example, which was a phenomenal game if you haven't played it, or at the latter end of the scale, Industry Giant, which is also quite good. Gameplay. Locomotion's gameplay revolves around construction and management of various transport systems, including railways, roadways, waterways, and airways. Players start with a modest budget and aim to create efficient and profitable networks. The game's strength lies in its complexity. Every decision from route planning and vehicle maintenance impacts your bottom line. The depth provides a satisfying challenge for simulation enthusiasts who relish micromanagement, and this really is a micromanaging game. Being a Chris Sawyer game from the Rollercoaster Tycoon series, the engine is in full swing, meaning you can build railways piece by piece and you can use your creative ability to link up the stations. That satisfying clunk noise is back as each piece is being laid, and resulting in a more satisfying ka-ching noise when your train rolls into the station for like the fourth or sixth time. The graphics, well, not groundbreaking, are charming and functional. The isometric view and detailed environments evoke a sense of nostalgia. Everything for a Transport Tycoon fan loves. The spirit is clear. The overall aesthetic and colour is appealing, although it might seem a little bit outdated to players accustomed to more modern graphics. Remember, at this time, 3D was in full swing, but Chris Sawyer held true to his art style and maintained that isometric view, which I think looks great. Even without weather or day or night effects, you can still get a really nice look at a city skyline, even though it's in 2D view. Unfortunately, you can't zoom in enough on some of the vehicles in the game. You are limited to a disappointing view distance, so you can't quite make out details of the vehicles, but over time it still has that charming look to it, which I forgive. Things like the user interface is somewhat cluttered. It's quite overwhelming when you first start playing this game. Everything is pretty much straightforward, but there's tons of little tiles and columns all around the screen, which half of them I don't even know. But overall, the game is incredibly basic. You can't add unique buildings to encourage growth. Everything is down in the cities to connect roads, airways, waterways. It's all focused on that. If you're like me, who just plays with moving pedestrians around, it's really satisfying to see one little town you started off with grow and then managing all the networks in and around that town. It's really, really fun, and I don't know why. If you're lucky enough on a custom map to have a custom map to start with iron ore and the processing facility, it just takes 2 trains to go backwards and forwards, and then by that time you've won. So, which comes down to replayability. There are about 100, maybe 150 scenarios that you can actually pick and choose. You can actually get more thanks to the modding community, but I prefer to play the sandbox game. Not to take away from the career mode, as it's called, but once you've won the game, you've won the game, and usually it's down to counting down the years until you actually get the reward and to tick off your achievements. So one of the main criticisms of Locomotion, it's a steep learning curve. The complexity that appeals to hardcore simulation fans can be a barrier for casual players. Additionally, the AI can be erratic, yet incredibly hilarious. So for example, they could build a huge, overpriced, elevated railroad across an entire city costing millions, when they could have just gone around the outside. It's a silly flaw, it does make you laugh, but after a while, if you play this game for long enough, and then put about a few hours into a scenario, the whole map will be littered with railroads all intersplicing and going over each other. The map can look ridiculous after a while, but in the early stages of the game, this is when it really, really shines. So in conclusion, playing through the career mode is really good fun, but the heart and the absolute enjoyment of this game comes in the scenarios, where the custom scenarios, where you can just start doing whatever you want with the computer players, and you can watch the chaos unfold. You can actually sink about a good solid 8 hours in one sitting in this game, But then the game is over. As soon as you've made about 3 or 4, maybe 5 solid connections, your money starts going up, and it's really hard to bankrupt yourself. Unless one of your industries goes under, which is quite rare, you can make so much money moving pedestrians around. So at that point, the game has very little in the way of challenge. Once you've actually made money, you can actually bulldoze half a city just to put your final airport in. Because, you know, Brits have got to go to Spain somehow. With leaving the last 10 houses behind, people can sleep on the runway for all I care. But there you go. So it's a classic game. I highly recommend it. It's like £1.80 on Steam. So go and get it. Have a laugh. It's a nice game to have a nice cup of tea with, and you'll thoroughly enjoy it. That's one if you haven't played Transport Tycoon and you want to get into the industry, or if you want to get into the transport management simulation games, this is the perfect one to start. I found Transport Tycoon really complicated when I first played it, so this is a great way to get into the industry. Also play Rollercoaster Tycoon or anything by Chris Sawyer. He is awesome. Anyway, if you like this video, like and subscribe. I actually do long plays, so if you enjoy or want someone to play the game for you, I will play 2 to 3 hours and I'll stream it on my YouTube channel, and you can watch me play with some funny commentary. Well, anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and like and subscribe.
Oh, here it goes.